somebody listening to this who's maybe, naive to, these concepts, doesn't know where to start, where would you suggest beginning taking that first step?
Yeah. I think you've got, so the first step is the paradigm of trusting your doctor on acute conditions, trusting yourself on chronic. The first step is just empowerment of understanding that differentiation between acute and chronic. It is okay to take a step back when your doctor's pulling out a prescription pad if it's a chronic. That's not going to kill you right away. That's number one. You can be an empowered patient. You probably know more than your doctor if you start reading some of these books. Have empowerment on chronic conditions.
What are some examples of these kinds of chronic conditions that you're talking about?
Yeah, anything that's not killing you right away. Like you're not going to die if you don't take that statin right away. You're not going to die if you don't take the SSRI right away. I mean, obviously depression is very serious, but like the metformin, the Ozempic, you're going to be pushed those by your doctor. You're going to be told you're going against science by your doctor. But it's 9 out of the 10 leading causes of respiratory illness, kidney disease, fatty liver disease. So anything that's not deadly right away, that's chronic, that you still live with for a while. So that is the majority of what's plaguing the American population. The majority of doctors' visits: fatigue, insomnia, ADHD, things like that. Like really most things except life-threatening issues. The framework there is you take a step back. On that and trust yourself a little bit and don't get beaten down to not ask questions. Then we get into the plan, and I really think every American in the country should have in-depth blood testing. I think we have a one-size-fits-all medical system. I think it's very powerful to actually understand what's going on inside your body, and we have a detailed roadmap. Just the couple blood tests you get on your usual appointment. I had, as I was starting this journey, slightly high cholesterol, but the doctor said it was fine. And Casey said, no, this is a huge indicator of metabolic dysfunction. This blood test is telling you have serious issues. It's probably going to give you another chronic disease or kill you earlier than you would want to live. And I went back to the doctor. I'm like, is this an indicator of metabolic dysfunction? She's like, yeah, but it's right in the borderline. You're not treatable yet. We can't prescribe something to you yet. So really understanding and being empowered and finding a doctor, ideally a functional medicine practitioner, but there's new online services that do this that can really unpack your blood test and have you know, or do you have a low-grade autoimmune condition already? I think that knowledge is power. I think we need to have more and more of these biowearables. I like my levels, my Whoop, just to know how you are. It was actually helpful to know my blood sugar was spiking a little bit. That made me really motivated. So the second is knowledge. And we've got a guide for blood testing here. And then I think it's really just analyzing for yourself the standard of care. It's not an anti-drug message 100% as we talked about, but researching a different route when you have a chronic condition. This is what my company does with the HSA letters, but I truly believe that people should be prescribed, we support 8 Sleep. It helped me a lot. It helped me sleep.
I love my 8 Sleep.
That is a health product.
Yeah.
Improving your sleep a little bit is absolutely something you should invest in my opinion, before a marginal, if you're on the borderline for a chronic disease treatment. My wife is dealing with some inflammation, some muscle issues. She did a whole research on red light therapy. There's a lot of research on that. That's been great for her instead of taking a bunch of drugs or, Advil. For pain, instead of taking the opioids. You go to depression. You have studies time and time again. They've done numerous of these studies where you actually have therapy and drugs and therapy. And then another cohort, exercise and cutting ultra processed food. The cohort that doesn't do therapy, doesn't take the top drug in the country, SSRIs, that just exercises out in the sun and eats healthy, they do better on depression. So just knowing that you're being misled by your doctor not following the standard of care that should be prescribed, following the science, and going outside the system and just asking those common sense questions, getting other opinions. Yeah, I'll just say it, listening to folks like you and going on a path of curiosity. If you have a chronic condition that's not going to kill you right away, it gets to the basics. I mean, this is, again, there's a lot to optimize. but the book is about our circadian rhythm, which is, I think, eating and obviously meal timing, sleep, light exposure. I think really understanding that, understanding obviously your food. There's 2 chapters on protocols for that. Temperature regulation, I think, is more marginal, but like something that's important that's coming up more and more. And then chronic stress, I think, is a huge one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge one, and our mind is very connected to our metabolism and our health. I think, obviously we have weapons of mass destruction in most of our kids' pockets with their cell phones, chronic stress. I think just as food is kind of hijacked, I think there's trillions of dollars of incentives that prey on our dopamine. I was just talking to our friend Sean Stevenson, and he was keeping track of the ads on the NBA game. And 90% of them were basically attacks on our dopamine. It's gambling, it's beer, it's Doritos. It's just down the list. It's like there's so much profit in us being in fear, us being addicted, us. And again, I'm a capitalist. I don't really think much should be banned, but I think that there should be awareness. There should be a requirement for patients being informed. And then when we're talking about the healthcare system, the $4.5 trillion we spend, that should be going to ameliorating the problem, not profiting from really keeping it going by managing the condition. So I do think that money, if we're going to have it, should be asking, okay, we've got these dynamics in capitalism, these dynamics in modern society. Where should this money go? And again, I can't stress this enough. 95% of funding goes to 95% of medical conditions are on preventable metabolic conditions. We need a complete reframe in where that money goes.
Yeah. Wow. Man, well, thank you for being such a powerful foot soldier. Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.